It is Thursday's Sports Cage. Welcome. It's Barney Shynkaruk. Coulson's here. Curtis is here. Sharky is here. He's going to come on your screen momentarily. We got the 3-hour pack for you today. We're going to run down everything that happened in the SJHL because we are the local sports show. We've been covering it all year. We're not going to stop now. Also, what a game tonight in Regina.
Big.
One of the hottest tickets for a sporting event in a long time in the Queen City. We'll get to that. The Toronto Blue Jays started the day tied for first place. We'll let you know where they are as they're playing baseball against the Baltimore Orioles. James Gallo, voice of the Moose Jaw Warriors. It's next year country for the Warriors. We're going to run down what happened in Moose Jaw this year with Gallo after the championship season last year. They're a young squad. Also pick James' brain on what he thinks will happen in the WHL playoffs. He watches a lot of hockey, so he'll know. Hour 2, Arash Madani. He'll want to talk Blue Jays. We'll talk some Canadian soccer. If you haven't heard that story with Alphonso Davies,
Weird.
Just started reading it last night. Yeah, it ain't good. I don't know if the Alphonso Davies Team Canada relationship will be mended anytime soon. Curtis Hunt, general manager of the Prince Albert Raiders, who are postseason bound. Also in hour 2, Glen Suitor in hour 3, and a whole lot more. That is the program for today. Sharky, we're back. We made it back from Tuesday night from Melville.
We blew the budget.
We went and watched, yes, the Terriers and Millionaires, thanks to the hospitality.
It was great.
Gubba from Balcarres, everyone that knows him out there, you know Gubbs.
Yep.
He had us into his little sweet little private box there. We got to watch the game. We did some gambling.
Lost.
Have to do that. And just an all-around impressive hockey game. First SJ game I've seen in years.
Yeah, it's been a while for me, too, that I've watched the game. Very impressed with the speed. Both teams playing with a lot of heart, obviously, because it's playoff time and game 3 of the series. But a very impressive hockey game by both clubs.
Last night, there's a break today in the SJHL playoffs. It was Yorkton over Melville. So now the Terriers are up 3-0.
They're up 3-1.
3-1. Nice little rundown on SportsCage.com. If you haven't gone there yet, go there. Subscribe to the newsletter. Benny Walchuk wraps up every game yesterday in a neat little package. But the final score last night in Melville was 2-1 Terriers. So the money men have their backs up against the wall going back to Yorkton. Flin Flon loses in Humboldt in overtime. So now that series is tied 2-2.
Tied 2-2, back to the Flon. Big game for Humboldt's goaltender. What did I have? What was his numbers here? Played 77
Daza
minutes.
Mitchell.
Stopped 60 of 50, 57 of 60. Mitchell Daza. Big game for him. They said if Humboldt was going to advance, they needed to have some outstanding goalkeeping, and they got it in game 4.
Busy night. So now I thought Humboldt would win 1 at home. But going back to Flin Flon, she's the best of 3 series now. The Broncos got to be happy with that. It was the Kindersley Clippers finding a way against the Melfort Mustangs. 3-2. Shane Tibbles scores at 5:17 of overtime in Game 4. So now they go back to Melfort. Maybe Melfort's doing the old senior hockey play. Let's get another gate.
Let's get the extra 50-50.
Beer sales. The Great Western boys will be happy. Let's get more of the taps flowing there. But no, Clippers trailed 2-0 heading into the third period of that one. And then Weyburn, another overtime game. If you're not watching SJHL hockey and you're in the area, you're missing out. This good stuff. Another overtime game. The Weyburn Red Wings 3-2 over the Battleford's North Stars in overtime. Justin Marek, 44 saves for the Battleford for shots saved by the Red Wings, but it wasn't enough. By the Battleford, I mean.
It wasn't enough. Liam Fitzgerald got a second of the game, or second of the series anyway, 12:39. We figured that series could go either way. Pretty close so far. I still think Battleford's got some life left in them, and I wouldn't be counting that one out.
So now they shift back to Weyburn.
They do. Weyburn's got a chance to wrap it up at home.
Like I said, sportscage.com, nice little rundown. Benny Walchuk has it there. You can go and check it out. Always visit if you want anything on the local front. Now, tonight, in Regina, I guess there was about, I heard the rumor mill, about 1,500 in Assiniboia the other night for Moose Jaw playing a home game there because of the Ford World Curling Championships against the Regina Pat Canadians. Tonight, it's sold out. The Sixer
is packed.
Is sold out. I got guys texting me. Speaking of texting, Prairie Land Rentals text line, 936-6262. Since 1986, 600 Albert Street, you get to deal with the bloody owner when you walk in. He handles you at Prairie Land Rentals. But the chat group, guys are...
Who's got him?
How is Real going to screw this up tonight? A packed C6.
Yep.
Is it going to be... Not enough staff in the bar, I think,
Without
is guaranteed.
Yeah, they'll be short there. Concession will be one guy in the concession.
That'll be minus 2,000.
Yeah.
If you're betting on that tonight.
And they'll have the bar windows probably open. Mm-hmm. So if you don't get a ticket...
Well, good luck.
Yeah. Be standing 25 deep in the bar.
Good luck. There was... There's only one entrance, I think. And this time, though, Warren Fry, manager of the Regina Pat Canadians, heck of a guy. We tweeted it out for anyone going. If you want to go to our Twitter and look at how they're doing things, it's rush seating, except for some family seats. So it'll be expedited, people getting into the facility, but it's rush seating except for the parent seating. Now, don't be a knucklehead. Don't be a mouth breather. If you see some older people, elderly, or people that maybe can't stand, Donnie Uren's got a bad back. He's got to sit. If you see Donnie Uren there, give him a seat.
Yeah.
He can barely walk. His back's so bad. No, but seriously, it's just like being on a subway or I haven't been on a public transportation bus in a long time. People are getting beat up on those things daily. But yeah, a subway or a tram at an airport,
anything.
Stand up if you're capable. Let someone that can't, let them sit. So that's what they're hoping people do tonight. Hottest ticket in town. I heard people. I don't know if you guys, the C's, if you guys frequent the marketplaces and the garage sales and I don't even know, is your Regina still a thing? Places like that. I heard there are people trying to get $50 a ticket. That's a text message again.
Scalpers out there
allegedly
for the Patsies games.
Now, I think it's the Maddox Schultz thing is one thing. Now it's just people want to go watch this.
It's the best hockey around right now, right? So, yeah.
Pat C's lead the series.
Only team in Regina left playing.
2-0. U13 Regina Rebels would have something to say.
Sorry. Forgot about that.
We'll get into that.
That's a whole other story.
Oh, is that a story? SportsCage listeners, buckle up for this gong show of a story. But Pat C's are up 2-0. Now, we were looking at, and it kind of, I glanced by this little part that the Moose Jaw Warriors have led in both games 1-0 early. And it's been the same guy, basically, same athlete.
Scoring for Moose Jaw.
That's come out with a 1-0 lead. He goes by the name of Brennan Brown. Number 19 for the Moose Jaw Warriors. So he scored first in both games. 1-0 Moose Jaw leading.
Hasn't been enough.
And then, so if you're going to the game, you haven't watched it yet. FYI, don't take penalties against the Regina Pat Canadians.
Yeah, their power play is really good.
Game 2, they scored 2 power play goals. Jonas Sievertson used to coach that boy. And then Maddox Schultz scored the other one. Eli Johnson has elevated his game this year. Everybody's talking about him on the back end.
Did you hear the good story out of Assiniboia that happened to Eli?
No.
Breaks his skate on the bench in Assiniboia.
Oof.
So now he's only got one wheel. They call a local guy.
Yeah.
They go and get some senior guys skate.
Nice.
So Eli's now in the senior guys skates, giving his skates to the local rink sharpener fixer dude. Mm-hmm. He fixes Eli's skates, but Eli scored with the other guy's skates. So he said, nope, I'm keeping these on for the rest of the game. So he played the rest of the game in somebody else's wheels, and then he'll be back in his tonight, hopefully for the Patsies.
See, that's not a home game for the Pats, but that's almost if that was an overtime goal in like the deciding game, that you take that skate and you put it in the showcase.
That's right.
In the lobby.
You just keep it. Thanks.
That's a great small town thing, and there's a skate sitting there with a story. On this day
all
in
by itself.
2025, Eli Johnson put on Barry McKechnie's boot from the senior Rebels.
Joe Smith
scored.
Skates. Yeah.
That's a great story. And of course, small town. Guaranteed Curtis Nelson had something to do with it. Or the Nelson family.
Somehow.
They're just awesome and helping out.
They were somehow involved.
Great story. So that game tonight sold out. It's turned into FOMO now.
It is.
It's like I don't have a ticket. You don't even give me a ticket. Hey, can I get a ticket? Have you heard? Hey, where can I get some tickets? Hey, is there a side door? Can I get in? No. Have you seen the security at Real? That's like getting into the Pentagon.
Actually, based on what's coming out of the Department of Defense in the U.S., very similar security system going on right now.
Come on, like Real. Let's be real tonight. Let's not screw this up. It's have more staff, and I know the whole union screws everything up there. It should just be privatized. That little bar.
Yeah.
Imagine how cool that would be.
Yep.
Don't have there's a couple of, and I could point them out right now. And
don't always take your break during the intermissions. Yeah.
There's a couple of Hardo security guards. They're going to be trying like if the kids want to play mini sticks, let them play mini sticks. This is what we're all about in Saskatchewan. A big hockey game, a packed barn. Don't screw it up.
Family there.
Yeah.
Let it be fun.
Yeah. You see guys walking in with a few cans of 016? Look the other way.
They're not going to cause any problems. It'll all be good.
That might be frowned upon, but that's how I would roll. That's how I would roll.
They don't let you and I run the rink, though.
Game time, 7:30 at the Sixer tonight. We'll have more on that in a bit. 936-6262. You got anything to say? Prairie Land Rentals text line.
Forgot our sponsor.
Big jobs, small jobs. Jeremy will get it done. What's with all this snow coming? Also, if you're traveling on the roads and anything that you want us to relay to the masses, let us know.
Saw some pictures of the mess at Fort Capel. Highway 10's got a little bit of trouble there.
I thought it's more north right now.
It is, but somebody jackknifed going down the hill in Fort Capel, and it's a mess.
Not even just jackknife, just cuz.
Yeah.
Not even. It wasn't even the snow.
No, it was snow. There is snow on the roads. So, yeah.
I can't believe how busy that highway was the other day.
Oh, man.
When we drove to Melville, people that do that drive every day, good on ya.
Yeah.
Good on ya. And then even on the way home, it was busy.
Still was at night, yeah.
I thought we're driving back, and I go, how come we're not at the Valley yet? We're not even at Fort Capel yet.
You didn't know where we were.
You go, we're not even in Balcarres. There's a big right turn coming up. I'm like, what? I feel like I've been driving for an hour already.
It was like 10 minutes.
No, felt long. It was a long day. Hospitality was great. We should have stayed at that little motel in Melville. Got right after it with everybody in town. Like I said, Toronto Blue Jays, Arash Madani, hour 2. We'll talk a lot of Blue Jays.
What's the score now? It was 6-2 last time we looked, wasn't it?
Started tied for first. It's in the bottom of the 6th inning, 6-2. That leads us to our Twitter poll today on Twitter. Colson, you've been manning that. The questions for the Twitter poll, if you want to go and vote, you can. It was, how will the Blue Jays do this season? Make the postseason, 27%. Not making the postseason, 38%. I just like to watch, 6%. And then I don't care, 29%. So not making the postseason is in the lead, followed by I don't care. Colin Lovequist.
The 27% that got him in the playoffs are a pretty optimistic group.
Colin Lovequist isn't on today. Gloria was
I noticed there was
spinning
something
tunes.
missing.
I wonder if he took the day. Did he take the day off because it's opening day? He is a hardcore Blue Jay fan.
Oh, really?
So come May or June when they're out of the running, hits hard.
It's hard on
Hits hard on that. I know people that are going to games. They're so passionate. They love their hardball so much. They're going to games this weekend at the Rogers Center, the Sky Dome, sorry.
Yeah. You can't make your roster better with just one guy after the disaster you had last year. They need something way more than what they've got going on right now.
I want to ask Arash this. Maybe I probably should know this, but I don't. Why don't you just trade Vladimir Guerrero if you can't get this done? Because you're going to be holding a bag of poop at the end. Like there's going to be nothing.
Why, if they don't get something done by their trade deadline, you got to think he's going.
Is he? Yeah, has to. Every other sport, that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Except a couple times locally for the Regina Pats, but let's not get into that.
Let's not bring that up again. Yeah, you would think they got to move Guerrero if they can't get the deal done, or if they're not even having the conversation. They got to walk away from it, and they've got to get something back, because if they let him go for free, it's going to be a big ugly mess. You can't have that happen. You got to get something for that asset.
And another question maybe for Arash. What's the farm system like for the Jays? It's kind of not that great, is it?
No. Apparently, there's not much.
You got guys out there in jeans.
Yeah, they're not raising quality heifers. Yeah, it's not a good farm. They might have had a bird virus.
This is the fourth time I've answered this question. Thanks, Dano.
Thank you.
In Regina, corner 3. Texted in 936-6262. Dano had the great comment the other day about maybe a Fort McMurray WHL expansion.
I'm liking that idea.
When things are good, yes. When things are bad, I don't know. Would putting the Regina Pat Canadian home games at the Brandt Center make more sense? Well, if you've seen pictures, the ice is gone at the Brandt Center, so they'd be playing ball hockey. They pulled the ice out, but they basically hit that breaker as soon as... Yeah. I bet you when the Regina Pats were warming up in their last game of the season, they saved the power. Save the power. Flip the breaker, and then the ice is out. So that is another reason. Another reason I heard, allegedly, when you use the Brandt Center, you have to pay extra, Hiroshi, more lettuce, cabbage dollars, and of the heavy variety to use the score clock.
That could be true.
So you can go and skate there, but
turn the clock on is a big deal.
You might have to bring your own score clocks. But the main thing is the ice is out.
You give away home ice advantage. You give it away tremendously. I know everybody says, well, why don't they move and put more fans in? I go back to the Kenaston thing. You talked about moving to Saskatoon. Yeah, it was a crappy arena, or not as great an experience as it could have been, but don't give away your home ice advantage.
Yeah.
You didn't think that Kenaston experience was very good.
It was a great experience. There's only so much they can do.
Yeah.
Like, it's not them. It's the massive amount of people that want to watch the Round Lake Bears play the Kenaston Blizzard. And they only had so much space. Yep. They couldn't move it to the Belcher in Saskatoon. It was booked. It is what it is. If you want to be comfy and you want to watch those two teams play, go to the Ochapowace First Nation Saturday, 5:30 puck drop. And if you've never been in that rink, it is unbelievable.
Is that what it is, 5:30?
Yeah, why? You going?
I thought it was 7.
I'll hop in with you.
No, I'm not going.
5:30 on Saturday. So, yeah, they can't play at the Brandt Center. But who would have thought? What is it about? I have the number here, actually. What do you think? What do you think the Sixer holds?
Well, it's about 1,300 in the seats.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
What do you got?
I don't know if I have it. Oh, 1,472
in the seats
capacity.
Okay.
I think that might be standing as well. That's what you can put in the building, and that's what
the fire chief
would allow. They're going less tonight because there'll be like media hobos, and scouts and stuff, right? So there'll be 1,400 people in that rink tonight.
Probably closer to 15 by the time they're done.
Hopefully Real is doing a debrief with their, like, when you go to an NFL game really early, you see the security groups, they have like briefing. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Jimmy, you got that door over there. Susie, you're going to do that. Betsy, you got this. Hopefully they're doing that. And they're doing something, they're having the foresight to do stuff with the parking lot. Or else people are just going to be parked in that horseshoe because it's like, well, what are you going to do? You're going to tow me?
Yep.
And then, let's not screw this up. Can we not screw this up? Like, let's someone take the charge here.
It's going to get screwed up. I'm sorry. It's going to get screwed up. They haven't done anything else right. Why would this suddenly be the day they fix everything?
And let's have great ice conditions. I know that is a tough ask.
Well, the temperature is going to change by the number of people in there, right? So that's going to throw off their ice-making capabilities. Yeah. Gunther, the ice maker, is going to be thrown off. So, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be great. Other news today, did you hear John Tortorella?
Yeah.
People are saying he got fired.
Thanks for coming.
He kind of said, I don't want to be part of this dumpster fire.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, he just said, this isn't that much fun.
John, I know how you feel.
I've been there. I've coached that team. Yeah, I think John just went, that's enough. What, we get 10 games left? Let the young guy take over. See if he can turn this around. I'm going back home to the farm.
Brad Shaw has been named. And does John Tortorella, I've always wondered, these older coaches, do they want the grind of working with young guys and rebuilding and trying to just get into the playoffs? Like, does John Tortorella need that? Has he ever won a cup?
Yep. He won with Tampa. He won Tampa's first cup back in 2004.
Oh, Anderchuk.
Yeah.
Corey Saric.
Yeah. Vincent LeCavalier. Yeah.
Who was the goalie? Oh, Javi Boulin.
Javi Boulin. Yep.
I was going to say Darren Pupa.
Darren Pupa has not won a Stanley Cup.
That'd be off. Yeah. So the grind of doing that, it's kind of like the Lindy Ruff thing.
Yeah.
Why? Just wait till the phone call calls from a team that is built and they just need that little bit of...
But it's like anybody in retirement. Lots of people don't know what they're going to do if they're not at work, right? You'll hear this all the time from people that are scared to retire or don't know what they're going to do, or they get really lost once they're in retirement. And lots of those guys haven't done anything their whole lives except go to the rink. So they don't know. Tortorella has got himself a little farm. He's got some horses, some dogs,
like
cats, goats.
Ponies?
I don't know if they're racing ponies. I think they're just more for fun.
Shetland ponies?
Actually, you know what? I got to back this up, and I don't know this exactly. I don't know the exact language to use for this.
You can lie. Go ahead.
Well, that's not lying. Tortorella does some amazing stuff with kids that are either special needs or need a boost in life, that he does this on his farm where they go out and they learn to ride and they learn to have that experience. So Tortorella looks like a mean, gruff, miserable old...
No, I think he's a great guy.
Crotchety guy. He's actually tremendous. Yeah.
Open, no phony baloney there.
No, you don't get anything... Get any crap from him, but apparently some of the stuff he does in helping kids is amazing. So yeah, I might have to look that up. But there's more to Tortorella than just the guy who tells the media to shut up.
Before we go to break, I got to tell you too, on the local front, because that's what we do here on the Sports Cage. Fort Knox, they know who they're playing in the provincial final for the Prairie Junior Hockey League now.
You're an alumni, aren't you?
Saskatoon Wesley's cup of coffee. Saskatoon Wesley's 4-3 over Delisle last night. So it's going to be Fort Knox and the Saskatoon Wesleys. First two games are in Saskatoon Saturday and Sunday at the Ham. Then they come back April 5th and 6th. So that's good.
Yep.
They give kind of the week off, and then let's do the weekend thing.
Yep.
So speaking of packed rinks, Fort Capel's
the co-op building down there.
Yeah. Oh, stop in, have a plate of dry ribs at Houston Pizza.
Swing over for the game.
Have a couple 016s and go watch the Junior B Championship on the 5th and 6th. So great day, great time for hockey in and around. We will go to break.
Hey, what else do we got for senior? Do we have time for this?
Well, we have Lumsden leading Raymore 2-1.
That's tomorrow night, right?
Capel Valley Highway Hockey League final. Yeah, they go to the launch pad tomorrow. Redvers is heading up to Edam in Provincial D, up 1-0. They could win that, and then it's a way better 700-kilometer ride home. And then Round Lake...
7. Try 12.
Round Lake Kenniston, Saturday, on OCHAP.
Denton George?
Yep. It's all the gravel money, I was told, back in the day. They have massive...
They had a big gravel pit?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I think, again, alleged people, 936-6262. I think some company like Wisconsin, some American firm paid huge dough for all that gravel. That's when I found out how expensive, how lucrative gravel can be.
It's very lucrative.
That's a great. Oh, they're going to get 2,000 people in that barn Saturday, if not more.
That could be really exciting down there if they win that over Kenaston. That'll be a big day.
I might go. Let's go to break. We still got James Gallo coming up in this hour and more fun. 936-6262. If you got something to say, it is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM. Welcome back for Access Communications on Thursday. Trusted in rural Saskatchewan for internet, TV, and home security. It's Barney, Sharky, Colson, and Curtis, soon to be joined by James Gallo, voice of the Moose Jaw Warriors, who have wrapped up their season. We're into the Western Hockey League. Colson, if you want to get the bumper ready, we can do the famous WHL report.
Time for the Western Hockey League report on the Sports Cage. Brought to you by Extreme Hockey. Extreme Hockey gives back with their 12 days of giveaways. You have a chance to win with every purchase. Visit the store for details.
WHL playoffs starting tomorrow around the league. Which one are you most intrigued by? You kind of had your picks on Tuesday, did you not?
Yes, I did.
And you took the upset that you took.
I took Brandon as the upset over Lethbridge.
Yeah.
I think PA Edmonton is going to be as good a series, though, as we're going to get in that first round. I really do. In the Eastern Conference.
We get to talk to General Manager of the Prince Albert Raiders, Curtis Hunt, in a bit here on the Western Hockey League report for Extreme Hockey and Sport and Umbrella Marketing. It is spring hockey season. It is getting ready for baseball and ball season. You can get your team kits made. Also, they have the lacrosse section now. So if you've got a lacrosse player in your life, Extreme Hockey and Sports, the local shop in Regina.
The series I don't want to see is Prince George and Portland going back and forth 16 hours between games.
How would you like to cover that one?
That seems ridiculous. I got to look that up. That seems ridiculous. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Western Pizza. Pickup specials at your local Western Pizza. All the Greek favorites you like. Souvlaki, salad, ribs, burgers.
So good.
Chicken wings. And a whole lot more. Visit your Western Pizza. Let's go out on there. James Gallo. We haven't talked to him in a while. Joining us. Voice of the Moose Jaw Warriors. James, like last year, you worked until June. And this year, you get, you know what? You got the banner last year, though, right? I was talking to Rip, too. I said, get to kick back and relax a bit.
Yeah, good for the mind, right? It's a 2-year haul, right? So it's going to be a good time to recharge. And you know what, Barney? It's never a bad time to start on the dad bod early, right? So that'll be the big thing to work on in the next couple of months.
What do you got?
Yeah, what are you saying there?
Rowing machine. You got your little jogging. What are you going to do?
You know what? Well, it started back in February. I'm probably about a 2.5 to 3.5 mile a day guy. Plus, whatever weights I can toss around. So it's maybe a small, compact frame, but it's a well-tuned machine.
Yeah, that a boy. Moose Jaw this year did the fans, did the community, because it was so awesome last year and the support was fantastic. Did the fans in the community, did they get it? Kind of where you are now? Are they savvy hockey fans to know kind of what a rebuild and or what it was all about?
I think they got it, right? I think they understood what Jason paid last year. It was an all-in move, right? And it was an all-in move that worked, which was thankfully it worked, right? I think this year they kind of knew the writing was on the wall for a lot of potential moves, and then when they started to come, they kind of knew it. And good on the fans. The support was there from day one. They understood what we were going on, and you got to credit General Manager Jason Ripplinger as well, open and honest in everything that he said. Right after every trade that was being done, every move that was being done, and you think about post-trade deadline, he was honest to say that, we paid the price last year. You have to restock the shelves. You have to get ready to run once more. And it's not only that, Barney. It's these younger guys that you have. They have to play. right? Like these young guys have to play, and it's great to have the big names in the lineup. But I look at someone like Riley Thorpe, who's 16 years old, 11th round pick, and he ended up centering the top line with Lyndon Lakovich and Pavel McKenzie when season was done. He maybe doesn't get to that spot if you keep a lot of older guys and put duct tape on a situation and trying just to sneak into the playoffs.
It's interesting you mentioned Riley Thorpe, because obviously that's going to be a cornerstone as you build going forward, a 16-year-old that's playing on your first line. What other players would you say are going to be really key ingredients as part of this rebuild?
I think there's always a lot, right? Like, Lyndon Lakovich is the guy. When you look at the older age groups, you start with Lyndon Lakovich, who will be 19 years old next year, hopefully an NHL first-round pick. Pavel McKenzie is a 20-year-old from Cumberland House, Saskatchewan. Ethan Semenuk, Aiden Ziprick. I think you got to look at those guys. If you want to think about some of the younger guys, Connor Schmidt on the back end, to me, in the second half, took that extra step. Nolan Paquette on the back end took that extra step. And, a lot of this year, we had a lot of APs flowing in and out of the lineup. And a guy that I think a lot of fans are going to get excited about is Colt Carter. He was the prospect acquired from the Lethbridge Hurricanes and the Braden Yager and Jackson Unger trade. And at 15 years old, guys, he was the highest scoring defenseman in U18 Alberta. And that's a pretty impressive feat. He was the highest scoring defenseman in U15 last year, highest scoring defenseman in U18 this year. Cohen Williams had a great year playing out at OHA Penticton. There's a lot of good young players coming in, and I think that's what we're excited about, is to see how they can take their next steps in their development.
You mentioned, Lyndon Lakovich, and I hear it. I think first rounder for sure. Not that I've ever been to the NHL draft and had a say in things. Also next year, though, as a 19, he could be the most sought-after forward for teams in the Western Hockey League at some point.
Could be, right? I mean, could be that situation. We'll see, right? I mean, that's probably the best thing. That's probably not the answer that you and your listeners want to hear, but...
No. We talk about it for sure on the mic. But he's a player, man. Like, and I could even see it last year. And I'm like...
Yeah, Lack has... He's got everything, right? I mean, he's got size, he's got speed, he's got skill. He will be honest with his assessment to say that he needs that little bit of extra. I remember being at I can't remember if it was in Spokane on the U.S. road trip or in Saginaw at the Memorial Cup, and I was talking to his mom, and just a great lady, and she said at some point, James, he's got to live up to the name on the back of his jersey. Right. So it's like, I thought that was great. Oh, his uncle, right? His uncle's pretty tough. He needs no introduction. His other uncle played in the Western Hockey League. His dad's a pretty tough customer as well. I'm not saying it dropping the gloves is what he wants, but I think he's got everything that any team would want when you look at the National Hockey League. And he was injured for 6 weeks, and it was a great opportunity for him to showcase his personality to these NHL teams. And a lot of the scouts that I talked to had said that just a complete joy to talk to. And I said, I know, right? Like he's a great kid, and he loves the game. And the other thing, guys, is he scored arguably 2 of the biggest goals in Moose Jaw Warrior history. Right, Game 6 overtime against Saskatoon in the conference final, and Game 7 overtime in Saskatoon in the conference final. So he can perform at the biggest stage, and I think that's also that a lot of teams need to take consideration.
If Les Lazaruk's listening right now, he's throwing something.
Oh, Les knows I love him.
Where's that vodka? Yeah, you know what? You get to watch a lot of hockey. If you had to say the team this year that reminds you of last year's Moose Jaw Warrior team, who would that be in the playoffs this year, James?
That's a great question. Never really thought about it. That team last year was just so unique. I don't know if I could give you, especially in the Eastern Conference, right? Just because I don't get a lot of Western Conference games because I'm old and I want to go to bed at a decent time, and the 2-hour time difference is a little hard.
Because you get up jogging and lifting.
Because I get up jogging and working out, right? But you know what? A team I like in the Eastern Conference is the Calgary Hitmen. And what I like about them is starting net. Daniel Hauser is, I think, tremendous. He burnt Moose Jaw for years in his time with the Winnipeg Ice. He can perform on a big stage. Their back end, I think, is probably one of the best back ends that you'll find in the Western Hockey League, maybe even the Canadian Hockey League. They have depth, which is great. They've got two really good lines that can score. They maybe have one of the best lines with Kindle, Tulk up front with Tanner Howe. That's an amazing line. And a guy that doesn't get, I think, a lot of press outside of Calgary is Carson Wentz, the captain. And the reason why I say that, and maybe why he maybe reminds me of a little bit some of the guys from last year's team, he can play that heavy style that you need right now, right? I mean, this is not the time to be perimeter. This is the time, yep. to put your work boots on. And as we talked about last year, we recoined it here, Musha, go to Atlee Calvert's office in front of the net, score in the hard areas. And I think for me, Carson Wentz can do that. And I like the Hitmen. They're a team. There's something about them that I really, really like their style of play.
So we talked earlier in the week and maybe picked an upset or two or a series that we think is going to go a little deeper. I think Brandon can take Lethbridge. That's my personal thought. And I think the best series to watch is going to be PA and Edmonton. I think that's got the potential to go 7 games. Your thoughts on those two?
On those two, I think first the Lethbridge-Brandon series. Let's call a spade. All the expectation and pressure is on the Lethbridge Hurricanes. Yep. It's similar to what Moose Jaw and Saskatoon had last year. They're built to run. They're hoping for a long playoff push because if you don't get to where you want to be when you give up all those assets, it's a hard pill to swallow. I've been on that side of things as well.
You don't go grocery shopping. You go late at night shopping. Get it delivered.
Right, at 100%, with the paper bag over top so no one sees you. But in that series, guys, to me, I think a big key, I like the Brandon Wheat Kings. I think they did a lot without Roger McQueen, and I'm a huge Roger McQueen fan. I think, again, similar to Lakovic, he has all those tools, but he has that edge. In the Warriors' first round series against Brandon last year as a 17-year-old, I thought he was their best player, hands down. He's back. I know he's been playing. I don't know the extent of how healthy he is. I'm assuming he's healthy enough. But to me, in that series, it's Carson Bjarnason. And he's the goaltender of the Brandon Wheat Kings. To me, he's got to be the second-round signed NHL draft pick of the Philadelphia Flyers, right? Like, he needs to outduel Jackson Unger the way that Jackson Unger outdueled several quality goaltenders in last year's playoffs. So to me, Carson Bjarnason is a huge key for the Brandon Wheat Kings. But I could see it. I can see where you're coming from on that, especially with the games in Brandon being played in Verdun, right? So it's a neutral site game, so it's a little bit of a smaller rink. The Prince Albert and Edmonton series, I think. Yeah, right. No more going to Winnipeg. They can't go to Winnipeg, and I believe Nipawa and Portage are both in the MJ playoffs, so they're off to Verdun, which is a great place. It's a great hockey town. Prince Albert, Edmonton, I do agree with you. I think I know it's a 2-7. I don't think it's a 2-7. I think it maybe more suits out as a 4-5 in terms of how close it could be. It's I think Prince Albert has the edge goaltending wise. It's just my opinion because Max Hildebrandt to me is a great story of development. He was a 13th round pick for the Prince Albert Raiders. I mean, he came into the hub when we had that season, didn't play, but just absorbed everything. And I think has made a push to be a nominee for goalie of the year for sure. The other side, like Edmonton starters, they have Ethan Simcoe, they have Alex Worthington. I'm assuming it's going to be Worthington. They got to be better than Max Hildebrandt. For the Raiders, the line for me to be worried about is the Adam Yeko, Miroslav Holenka, and Gavin Hodnett-Light. They completely torched Moose Jaw this year. They looked like an NHL line against us at times. Holenka and Yeko are skilled, they're fast, and they're big. And, they've got big game experience playing for Czechia at the World Juniors. Gavin Hodnett does his thing. And, that's a dangerous line. And the other thing, too, is Grayson Sauchin is probably the best player in the Western Hockey League that not everybody's talking about. That's how good he is. And, the puck finds the stick of his younger brother, Lucas, and they're a team that I think if they can get on a roll, they could be tough to stop in the first round. But again, I think environment's a big thing, and there is probably not a better environment for playoff hockey than the Art Hauser Center in Prince Albert. It is amazing. It is amazing to see. So
bring your milk crates.
Yeah.
Stand in the back.
Oh, it's
the best.
They are so passionate. Moose Jaw played Prince Albert in 2 out of 3 years one time. And, the 1 year Moose Jaw was the lower seed that was breaking points last year, knocked out Prince Albert in 5. And it was just, we were scared to get to the bus, it felt like. And then the next time was 17-18 when Prince Albert was the 8 seed and they pushed Moose Jaw to 7 games. And it was a great series, but it was that if you've never been to a playoff game at the Art Hauser Center in Prince Albert, go.
You missed out.
It's worth the money. Go 100%.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, quickly before I let you go, you've been in the league a long time, called a lot of games. The NCAA ruling earlier this year, when that came out, what was your take on it? Did you see it coming? And what's your take on it now? What's going to happen with the Western Hockey League? Are we going to see older? We're going to see younger? What's your take?
I don't know. I think, could we see it coming? Maybe not until, when Braxton Whitehead had his commitment to Arizona State with the Regina Pats, then you maybe thought something's going to happen. I think it's if it's an opportunity for the players that can help them, then it's good. So that's the way I view it. But it's also sometimes the shiny new car is not the best option for your budget. So, and U-Sport is absolutely amazing. University Cup is one of the best tournaments in Canada that no one talks about. It's fantastic. Player-wise, it's tough to tell if we'll get older, if we'll get younger. I think only time will tell with that. But I think the nice thing, guys, is that the Western Hockey League is going to be the place to be to watch the best 16 to 20-year-old players on our side. Going east, it is what it is, but you're going to see the best, and there's no more red flags, right? If you want an NCAA scholarship, you can still do that in the Western Hockey League. So. Yep. And maybe the Western Hockey League maybe fits you a little bit more when you get here. So it's exciting. It's nervous, right? Because there's a lot of unknowns. But I think at the end of the day, we'll see what happens.
And what do we got? About a minute and a half here. Probably not surprised about Penticton. Chilliwack, though? What's your take on the expansion?
Chilliwack, I was fortunate enough to call some games in Chilliwack, or one game, maybe two, when they were in the league so far long ago. It's a great town. It's a great facility. So I think that's, if they go down that road, I think it's a good market to be in. I think Penticton's exciting. We always hear on our side of the Rockies about the Penticton Vs and the support and the program that they have. Well, now we get to see it firsthand, and I think that's exciting. I think it also makes a great little triangle rivalry with Kamloops and Kelowna, similar to what we have here with Regina, Moose Jaw, and Swift Current, except we're a straight line. So geography is going to help them out, but it's exciting. We won't get there for another 2 years, but it'll be exciting to have Penticton in the league.
It's all good.
Are you going to take in any of the curling? Maybe have a few pints, or are you off that while you're training here?
You know what? To be 5'9" of twisted steel and sex appeal takes a lot of determination, Barney. So I don't know if I'll be dieseling draft beers throughout the course of the day, but I might poke my head in every now and then, but probably more so. I'm headed off to the AAA game tonight. That's what I'm going to want to watch. And of course, now that the NHL East Coast games were on earlier, I know I'll be watching that as well.
Well, we'll probably see you at the Sixer tonight. Get there early. It's gonna be an
what I've been
event.
Told. Yeah,
right.
It's gonna be awesome.
All right. Thanks, James.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too.
Voice of the Moose Jaw Warriors, James Gallo, joining us here on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Let's go to a quick break. We'll come back. A little bit of ticker action. It is the Sports Cage on the home of sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
It's time for the Sports Cage Sports Ticker.
That's you?
Toronto Blue Jay fans, you're going to lose the first game of the season.
Yep.
It's 9-2. Baltimore Orioles, top of the 8th inning. It's not done yet. If you want to go hammer an in-game bet and take the Blue Jays to come back, go nuts. But it's 9-2. Tonight, we just talked to James Gallo. He's going there. It is the place to be in southern Saskatchewan. 7:30, the Sixer, Regina Pat Canadians, Moose Jaw, AAA Warriors. Game number 3, it is sold out. They're not selling tickets at the door. Hopefully you have a ticket and you can go to that and watch it. You don't have a ticket, Sharky.
No.
Western Hockey League playoffs start tomorrow. SJHL, a night off. Go to sportscage.com. Nice little write-up by Benny Walchuk on what happened last night in the SJ. We'll also recap for you next hour. And in the NHL, there are a ton of games. Edmonton Oilers fans, you almost came back last night against Dallas. That was interesting. Take it on Seattle, Toronto, San Jose, other Canadian teams, Montreal, the John Tortorella lists, Philadelphia Flyers, and Dallas is in Calgary.
Big game for the Flames. Every game's a big game for the Flames.
I don't know. Starting to lose. I don't want to, but I'm starting to lose a little bit of hope there for the Flames.
Yeah? You think St. Louis is running away?
Well, they're just playing so darn good.
St. Louis is playing well. 8-1-1 in their last 10. Yeah, they came back from the Four Nations, and Bennington went, oh, yeah, I'm pretty good. Yeah. So,
yeah.
give them some credit.
Never say never, because right now, when you look at the standings, and if you haven't yet, St. Louis has 83 points. Vancouver has 80. Vancouver's got a game in hand. Calgary's got 79.
And 3 games in hand.
3 games in the till.
Yeah. So they get some house money to play with there. They can get themselves back in the mix pretty easy.
I'm just looking at CoolBet here, and what
do you got?
World Curling Championship odds are up.
And
Japan, Canada, out of the gate. Canada's minus 1,100. No. Yeah, 1,111. Canada's a heavy favorite.
Heavy favorite.
That's coming up, eh? Starts this weekend.
Starts Saturday.
I got an exclusive interview tomorrow.
Really?
With Brad Jacobs, skip of Team Canada.
Look at you.
Thanks to Benny Hebert. And I tell you...
Big scoop. Big scoop.
I've been texting Brad.
Yep.
Solid dude. One of the fellers. Totally one of the fellers. He would have fit in well on the trip to Melville.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Dude. Good dude. Benny kind of said it. That would be the case. Yeah, no, it'll be... that'll be on tomorrow as well. We talked about Western Hockey League. In hour 2, we're going to be joined by General Manager of the Prince Albert Raiders.
Huntsy.
Regina resident.
Yes.
Part-time. Curtis Hunt. Well, Joyce, guy's been around the game a lot. What does he think about Edmonton? He's going to say it's going to be tough.
He is, and he's right. It's not a free space on the bingo card, right?
James Gallo giving us the knowledge.
Yeah.
He knows the teams inside and out. He started throwing out some of those names. I go, I recognize that guy. Oh yeah, I know that name. Those guys are still playing.
Yes.
Yeah, Edmonton's no slouch.
Nope. Edmonton deserves to be in the playoffs.
But their goaltending's got to outplay Hildebrand.
And the home ice is going to be big in that one for PA. Yeah.
The Hauser.
Yeah. Home ice is going to be huge for PA.
The only better thing would be if the Cook was open and he could go twirl a little 18 holes and then go to a playoff game.
Yeah.
Hit the Venice House for a French onion soup. Oh, yeah.
It's amazing the menu history you have around the province.
Prince Albert. Let's roll. Yeah, so he's going to hopefully join us. And then we have Clutch Performer. We got the NASCAR report.
Yes.
For Croft Electric. And Arash Madani will start the mixer in hour 2. It is a Sports Cage. Sharky, the C's are with me. It's Thursday for Access Communications on 620 CKRM. Welcome back. Sharky's with me today and the CNC Production Company.
Best there is.
It's game day for your Regina Pat Canadians.
Or you're going to say your Toronto Blue Jays.
Or if you're from Moose Jaw, from your Moose Jaw Winmar Warriors. Yeah, it was opening day for the Blue Jays. We'll get to that with Arash Madani
in
a bit.
Is it over? No, it's not.
It's close.
They're still beating the horse.
Is it like, can they shake hands? Is it like curling? Have they implemented that rule? Yeah, we good. See you guys tomorrow. Not great. SJHL, no games tonight. Western Hockey League, no games tonight. Fire again tomorrow. It's the AAA midget night. If you don't got a ticket, You're not getting in because it's sold out at the Sixer.
Packed.
Hottest ticket in southern Saskatchewan. Except for Saturday. That might be in Ochapowace.
That will be in Ochapowace Saturday. That'll be the hottest ticket.
If Moose Jaw wins tonight, when is game off the top of my head?
It's got to be Saturday back in Assiniboia, isn't it?
So, that puts me in a predicament. I wanted to go to that rink.
Your whole life's a predicament. I don't know why that one particular game is going to throw it off.
Or do I go to Assiniboia?
They're not close. Can't do them both.
Assiniboia's probably got a nice wonton soup. Probably a nice cafe. That would trump in. Speaking of food, Western Pizza guest hotline. Let's go talk to him. Arash Madani.
It's time to go coast to coast with Arash Madani for Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
Arash. Sad violin music means Toronto Blue Jays are getting shellacked right now by the Baltimore Orioles, 12-2. We spent a lot of time talking about Jays issues.
Hold up. Sharky.
Yes.
We are 45 seconds into the segment, and I've already lost a bet because I told somebody by now, Barney would have said, "I told you so." Okay, like I just had that in the pool, and I'm already 0 for 1. So I just wanted to share that with you.
I think my
Adley
heavy
Rutschman
sigh
has
from
scored.
Tuesday is, yeah.
Yeah, like Adley Rutschman's got double the runs that the Toronto Blue Jays do today. Yeah, I get it.
Wow.
Yeah, they're last place in the AL East. When you saw the rosters unveiled today, what signs what are we pointing out that can make things maybe better in 2025?
Okay, so it's hard to say all these things now when they're getting run out of the gym. It's 12-2, and it feels like batting practice for the Orioles. But I actually think, guys, and look, there's 161 games to go. Let's remember that. I actually think the Blue Jays starting pitching is going to be okay. I think the Blue Jays starting pitching can get them into the 6th inning on a lot of nights. Like Barrios got knocked around a little bit today, but he's an opening day starter. He's a guy making over $100 million. And then beyond that, Kevin Gausman's a vet. He's coming into the season healthy. He wasn't for a lot of last year. He's a guy who's been through it, who's pitched in the AL East for a number of years. I think Gausman will be fine. I think Chris Bassett going into really a real important season, a couple of years removed from going 200 innings. If the Blue Jays are to do anything, and especially after today, who really knows, but if the Blue Jays are to do anything, their starting pitching is going to have to be massive for them. Because we talked about this on Tuesday. Their bullpen is dreadful. So it's what the starters can do that's going to be so important for them.
My heavy sigh is still hanging in the air from Tuesday when you said they got a chance of making the playoffs.
Of course they have a chance.
No, they don't. No,
well, everybody gets in now, Sharky. Everybody gets in as long as you're not, a 74-win team.
They'll be lucky to get 74 wins. When you start out 12-2
get your book
at
out.
home,
Get the book.
Yeah, get the book, Colson. Write this down. When you lose 12-2 at home on opening day with your apparent number one guy on the mound.
Hold on. It's not over. It still could be 15 or 16. Don't sell the Orioles short here, Sharky.
That's true. The Orioles get another at bat yet. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I just don't see. I don't see enough change in this roster from last year to say that this is going to make a difference. I don't.
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming from. I do. I think a healthy Bo Bichette is a big difference. I think that Vladimir Guerrero Jr., whatever this is it a pending free agent year or isn't? I think this has got to be a monster year for Vlad. But I understand a lot of what you're saying. I look around, the position players, and I'm saying to myself, where's the offense going to come from outside of 3 bats? Yep. And really 2.5. Like Alejandro Kirk is, hot and cold. So, can Bichette, not alone, but can Bichette kind of help change the fortunes? If he's healthy, if he's productive in a, free agent year, sure. But I just don't see kind of, 1 through 3, 1 through 4, I see it. Santander can give him some pop for sure. But I don't know 5 through 9 where the offensive production comes from, guys.
Playing in the AL East, obviously no cakewalk. It's so tough. You got the Yankees, you got Boston, and Boston gets to play in their park that is tricky to play in. And then Baltimore's on the rise. It is so tough in the AL East.
Well, Baltimore's here. Baltimore to me was the best team in the division last year, and not just because of the wins, and obviously that's a big part of it, but just they were so complete. The Orioles have arrived. Now, I think, Barney, you and I have talked about Fenway Park before. It's a weird place, not just because of the history and the dimensions. There is something that happens there, and I don't know what it is after the 7th inning stretch, that they may be down 2, 3, 4 runs, all the Sam Adams and all the clam chowder and the dropkick Murphys and Sweet Caroline. It is the hardest place to get the last 6 outs if you're the opponent. I remember a game in 2019, and I just bring this up because it was a terrible Jays team, but they were up 5 or 6 runs. And then in extras, Mookie Betts hit a walk-off grand slam. And I'm like, this has just been a 10-run swing in 3 innings in this ballpark. The last 3 outs in Boston are tough. This is a gauntlet. The Yankees just got to the World Series last year. How the Jays navigate this is going to be tough.
Are the Blue Jays now that car salesman at the end of the month that needs that one more to get over or get that bonus, and now they're calling you back with Guerrero? Are they just, hey, okay, hear me out here. We're gonna
say, where are you going?
We're gonna give you this. We're gonna throw in a few oil changes. Is this done? Are they gonna keep trying to work it? And will they trade him at some point?
I'm not sure if I'm not sure if you're calling the Blue Jays front office a bunch of used car salesmen. I'm not sure if that's what you're doing there,
Barney. They could be new. New or used. Good units.
I think this is an important part to kind of understand. For the last 2 years, the Blue Jays haven't been very good, but they've been doing very well at the box office with all the renos, et cetera, et cetera. The ticket sales are not going well. There is not a lot of goodwill in this market right now for this ball club. There are a lot of diehard Blue Jay fans who are very upset. Are we allowed to say pissed on a radio stream? There are a lot of Blue Jay fans who are pissed. They're livid. They're like, what is going on here? And at the center of it is, how are you doing this to Vlad? Because if you go to the ballpark tomorrow, the next day, the day after, I would honestly say 3 out of the 4 jerseys you'll see people wearing are 27 Guerrero blue. You'll see some Bichettes, you'll still see some Bautistas, you'll still see some Donaldsons, and then you'll see the randoms. But Vlad is the guy. And the way I think the interpretation of how this has all been handled and how Vlad has handled this is that they're jerking him around. And so now as the season approaches, it's like, we need to do something because the ballpark's going to be empty. The fans are upset. They're not going to show up, and there's going to be a massive problem with revenue.
What's the deadline if they don't get this deal done that they got to move him? Because they can't let the asset go to the market. They can't just lose the asset. What's the deadline date that they got to sign or trade?
It's a good question, Sharky. I don't know, because I think it still has to do with, are they in any conversation of contention? right? Like if you're no, but hold on, if you're 2 games, 3 games, 4 games out of first place, if you're in the wild card on June 30th, a month out from the trade deadline, you can't deal them.
That will be the absolute worst thing to ever happen to this franchise.
I kind of agree with you.
Except worse than anything that happened at Exhibition Stadium, worse that happened anywhere. If they are close and they can't move them and they end up with Bubkiss, worst thing ever.
Is a front office that has fully mismanaged assets. They inherited Josh Donaldson as the MVP. They got Julian Merriweather for him. They had Marcus Stroman, who's probably a number 2 to 3 in the rotation. They effectively got nothing for him. On and on and on, you can take a look at what kind of assets the Blue Jays had to make good, and very little has come through on that front. So I just get the sense they're going to keep offering, and I think Vlad's going to play. I think Vlad's going to slow play his hand until he gets the number he wants, because he knows if the Jays don't give it to him, there's going to be at least 4 or 5 teams this offseason that will.
If he, and especially if he has a great April, May, like if he puts some numbers up, regardless of what the team does, if he puts his own personal numbers up, his value just keeps going through the roof. He just makes it more and more difficult for the Jays.
Vlad,
and this is what gets so interesting, guys. The better Vlad plays, the bigger a distraction this story becomes.
Without a doubt.
Because it just won't go away.
Nope.
We're throwing the undercoating and some new floor mats. How does that sound? How does that sound to you?
How many car washes? How many car washes am I getting for that? Because I think Julian Merriweather was the car wash.
Okay, let's go. I caught this story yesterday, and just life's so busy. I didn't really get it until Alphonso Davies, captain of Canada's national men's soccer team, gets injured. Rumor is that he said, "Hey, I ain't good," and they still played him. And now he's got ACL. And what are you making of this, Arash? What do you know about this from your people?
So I think what you were now seeing is the first divide between the captain, the star player, and the new coach, Jesse Marsh. It's the agent of the player who has come out and said Alphonso shouldn't have played. There was inherent pressure put on him to play because he was dealing with an injury, and then 11 minutes in, he blows his knee out. Now, Canada Soccer is filtering out to their mouthpieces that, no, Jesse Marsh came out publicly and said we weren't sure if he was going to play against the Americans in a third-place game, that Alphonso himself wanted to play. This back and forth does no good for the greater good. This does no good with us being 15, 16 months away from the World Cup starting. This isn't just a starter. It's not just a roster player. This is the face of the franchise, the captain, a top 5-6 global megastar on earth. And now Bayern Munich, his club team, is saying, what the hell is going on here? And it's a horrible look, and finally, just as it seemed the national team was on its way and taking steps forward, this happens.
You can't get upset if you're Bayern Munich. I mean, all the players are going to play in these national team games, so Bayern Munich can't suddenly raise their eyebrows because they're all playing all over the world.
I think you can.
Well, I mean, they can, but then don't let any of their players go play, right?
I think the difference here is he's already dealing with something from the Mexico game 3 days before. So he's already, he's banged up. And it's not like this was for a trophy. This was a third place game. So it's the whole risk reward thing. It's, wait a minute here. Why, if he's already not right, and even if Alphonso wanted to play, there is a care of duty here where you have to protect the athlete from himself. And I think that's an important part of this whole equation, too.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if it was the World Cup, if it's the World Cup, if it's a major competition, and he's like, no, I'm the captain, I'm out there to play. You're like, okay, you know what you're doing here. A third place game in March, that's.
You don't see a lot of soccer players. This just dawned on me watching those highlights that Curtis was playing.
Actually be hurt?
You don't see a lot of soccer players with knee braces. No, seriously.
Where was the magic spray? Where was the magic spray this time around?
Yeah, exactly. Where's that guy with the spray? Get up. You're fine. You'll be good.
I love when they.
The spray can't repair an ACL, I guess, huh?
I love when they take them when they run off with the little stretcher, like you're watching an old cartoon. Okay, and then a couple more things for you here. Where does Trey Lance fit in the rider depth chart this year?
Oh man, look, why not? Put him on the neg list. What do you have to lose? Trey Lance's professional career so far has just been, John Lynch thought he had the next Josh Allen, and obviously not that. So
he
take
had the next Rob Allen. It's my neighbor.
Right. We've seen first-round picks come up here. The guy's got some mobility. He's got some arm strength. Don't know if he can play, but it's worth putting him on and seeing if he's willing to come up and take some reps. I wouldn't suspect that we would see him in the CFL, if at all, before 2026. But there's no harm in putting him on the neg list.
Doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
I want to know. I want to ask Glen Suitor later today. I said, you got to find out as much about the negotiation list as possible because I got questions. A lot like the knee brace and soccer player question. I have questions.
Well, what do you need to know? I can give you the Coles notes.
How many players are you allowed to? How do they come off? What do other teams see? Those are the first three.
Yeah, so it used to be 25. I don't know what it is now. Whoever's first to put a guy on the list puts a guy on the list. You can trade neg list players too with one another. So Johnny Manziel kind of had bounced around a couple of neg lists, et cetera, et cetera. For the most part, it's Americans who are on neg lists. But yeah, whoever's the first to put them on the neg list becomes their CFL property.
And I just think it's fascinating. Like, what would make you just like the Chase Claypool still on our neg list? I want to see said
Why
list.
Not?
I would love, is he still on there? And then how do these guys get put on? Is it like somebody sends a text message to be like, hey, I was out, we were out playing pool the other day, and Trey said, it'd be kind of cool to go play in Saskatchewan. My dad played. And then how does it happen? Does an agent say
I'll give you an
something?
example. Yeah, I'll give you an example.
You make it sound so simple.
Maybe it is.
Well, it is. Because you have scouts who go to different college campuses. You have scouts who go to NFL training camps and NFL preseason games. And if you see a college quarterback that you say to yourself, wait a minute, he's CFL material and probably is not going to last long in the NFL, you may send an email off to the general manager and say, I'd start watching some film on this guy. I really like this guy. Case in point, Jake Mayer. Jake Mayer is a great example. Ryan Dinwiddie, when he was the quarterbacks coach of the Calgary Stampeders, identified Jake way back when in his college days and said, there's a guy who can sling it in our league and probably isn't going to get much of a chance south of the border. Some teams are saying, okay, well, this guy's a number 3 right now on an NFL depth chart. I've been down there. I don't think he's going to last that much longer. We're willing to be patient to keep him on just in case his time comes up. Kellen Moore, who's now the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, was on the Hamilton neg list forever. He went to Boise State. Yeah, he probably still is. They probably forgot to take him off. The email, someone forgot the email password, the login password to take him off the neg list.
Classic Harvard move.
Yeah.
So question for you on the neg list.
Yeah.
What's the earliest they can put a player on? Like, if they see a guy who's a freshman, can they go, we're going to add him? Or
an American? An American, you could put anybody anytime.
So a high school kid you could put on.
I mean, maybe you could. I don't think anybody really is. But college players are definitely on neg lists.
Okay.
We're going to ask Glenn these questions later, and his head's going to explode. He's like, "Whoa, I have no idea."
Got to ask Arash.
No, it's... And the other thing, too, again, while my little noodle up there starts turning, it's... Does Jerry Jones know? Did he hear about this? I just wonder. So, hey, who's the Saskatchewan team putting this guy on the neg list? Like, I wonder if he knows.
Now, the better question is, does Jerry Jones know who Trey Lance is?
He signed a check for him at some point, didn't he?
He's that parking attendant?
Just because he signed the check doesn't mean he knows who he is.
Oh, that's good
true.
stuff. Okay, and then before we let you go, we were in Melville the other day, and you brought up, what's the Major League ball player from Melville?
Terry Poole.
And just happened, like, isn't it?
Sharky.
Yes.
I'm at a baseball bar yesterday afternoon in Toronto, and I look up on the wall, and you'll never believe what I saw. It's a wall full of baseball cards, and there he is in all his glory.
Love it.
Terry Poole baseball card. I don't know if it, like Topps 91, maybe? What is that, a 1993 Topps?
Would be about the right era. Yeah.
Right?
And the
Ozzie
Melville
Smith
Millionaires.
was around him. There was a Randy Johnson Expos card up there. And Terry Poole right there. I'm like, what are the odds the day after we had that conversation? There we are.
Karma.
That's awesome. I think I have those cards too. In my mom's house, seriously. There's like a George Bell where he's got his hat sitting on top of his fro.
On top? Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. All right.
That's cool, Arash. That's very cool.
As we leave, we can now tell our listeners in the bottom of the ninth, the Baltimore Orioles lead the Toronto Blue Jays 12-2. 2 outs. 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. Safe to say.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Blue Jays are starting the season 0-1.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
What happened to all that 1 in a million talk?
Yeah. Swammy. All right. Have a good weekend, Arash. Have some Boilermakers. If we're quoting that movie. Yeah. Right on, buddy. See you later.
Take care, brother.
See you, boys. All right.
Coast to Coast with Arash Madani for Brian Gawley, Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley. 546-2533. We saw Brian Gawley at the Melville-Yorkton game.
He was out visiting some clients, making sure some people got their investments in the right spot. Love what he was doing.
Firm handshake.
Very firm.
Yeah, and he's from around the... Yeah. There's his wife from around
Fenwood, he said.
Never heard of that place.
Well, it's not very big.
Yeah, thanks to Brian. I'm sure he stayed for the full game. Got to watch the exciting action. And Coulson, if you heard him in the background, it is now a final. Blue Jays lose to the Baltimore Orioles 12-2. Break time. We're going to go back. We're going to go back on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline when we come back, hopefully, and joined by Prince Albert Raiders General Manager Curtis Hunt. It is a Sports Cage. Streaming in video at sportscage.com on X. And as always, the home of sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Is there an intro, or you just want us to go? Go? Let's go. Clutch Performer time. For Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Call 781-1077. First off, we're going to look at the text line, see if anyone sent in a local Clutch Performer from anything last night. Do you have one?
Well, I really liked Humboldt's goalie. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Stopping 57-60. Is it Daza Mitchell or Mitchell Daza?
No,
I think it's Daza
Mitchell.
Daza Mitchell. Yeah.
Daza.
57-60. Gets a win for Humboldt in OT. Big win. Tied at 2. Now a best of 3 with Flin Flon. Still think Flin Flon's the better team in that series, but they got to show it.
Coulson, you got one?
Yeah, I got one. Austin Elliott was with the Saskatoon Blades for a while, but the Strathmore, Alberta native went 32-1, 0-0 with the London Knights this year.
32-1-0.
He's playing in London?
Yeah. Yeah, he'd be turning 21 in a month or two, I think. But, yeah, went on a 20-game win streak to start the season. Lost a close one to, who was it? I had that pulled up here for a second. Lost a close one to the Windsor Spitfires 4-3, and then went on a 12-game heater to finish the season off. So
cool.
That's a pretty good performance.
That's a nice book of work. Nice book of work.
Finished the season with a 2.1 goals against average and a 92.4 save percentage.
Okay, so my clutch performer, it's not an athlete, really. It's just a damn good story. Comes from my wife's school.
Okay.
So they have this jump rope for heart fundraiser for the Heart and Stroke Foundation.
Like skipping rope?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's at a community school, but all these kids bought in. Okay, so they want they wanted, I think it was, so the teacher's name is Jordan Hibbert. Mr. Hibbert.
Mr. Hibbert.
He's the teacher. So he's getting married, okay? He's getting married in, I think, July.
He should call us
Just got
first.
engaged. So he comes up with this idea. If the school raises $250, he will get pied in the face.
I thought he was going to shave his head.
Then if the school raises $500 for this heart and stroke jump rope thing, he will shave his mustache.
Okay.
If they raise $750, he will get duct tape to the wall and the mustache and the pie in the face. If they raise $1,000, shave his head, along with everything else. So the donations and the pledges are coming in from these kids, and they do a great job. They get to 250, he's getting pied in the face.
Yeah.
They get to 500. And he's getting married, and his wife likes his mother. She's got
skin in the game.
Can he grow that back by July? Probably. I could grow up by next Tuesday.
Yeah. But
I don't know if he can.
I could as well. Yeah.
So he's got to shave his mustache. So they're at $500. What a job by this community school.
I thought you were going to say they got to 1,000.
My wife is unloading things out of her vehicle yesterday. All of a sudden, this vehicle pulls up, slams on the brakes behind her. Community school.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, this mom comes out and says, "Just the person I want to talk to." My wife's like, okay. I thought, student issues. Gives her this wad of cash, right? In broad daylight, on the street. Here's this wad of cash. What's this for? For that thing you guys got going on at school. The book fair? Nope. The other thing. Oh, the jump rope for heart. Yeah. Ooh, we want to see that guy's head get shaved. $500. 2 kids. $250 each.
Are you kidding me?
Isn't that a great story? So I gotta say, Mr. Jordan Hibbert, teacher at St. Michael Community School,
soon to be married,
getting his lid shaved, mustache off, and his wife is probably, his fiance is like, what? But great, good on, $1,000 raised.
Way to go, kids.
What a trooper. What a great story.
And surprising mother coming out of the woodwork.
Great story. All right, those were our clutch performers. Thanks to Nick's Service in Emerald Park for sponsoring that. Your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. You could always call 781-1077. Can we go right in to the NASCAR report?
We're ready?
Let's go.
The SportsCage NASCAR Report, where rubbin' is racing, is brought to you by Croft Electric. 27 years of trusted, reliable home, farm, and commercial service for all your electrical needs. Visit croftelectric.com and on all socials.
NASCAR last week, Miami. The Hendrick race team race cars finished 1-2 with Kyle Larson winning the race. Alex Bowman finished second. All 4 Hendrick drivers finished in the top 18, their best finish of the year. It was also the Hendrick team first win of the year. Surprise of the year so far is 4 drivers, and the last 2 champions and teammates, Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney, have yet to win, or in Blaney's case, even finish. as he's blown up 2 engines already this year. Not popular with the owner when he's got to start replacing engines. This week, the circuit moves to Virginia and the half-mile track at Martinsville. Interesting point, 5,545 hot dogs, end-to-end, will go around the track at Martinsville.
Say that again?
5,545 hot dogs, end-to-end, the track at Martinsville. So after...
Alrighty.
So after 4 1.5-mile tracks, we get to the first short track of the season. This is all bets are off. This is rubbing his racing. This is when it's the hardest. With speed out of the equation, more emphasis is on pit strategy and tire wear. It's a completely different race. Early favorites for this one are Chris Buescher and Ryan Blaney, but Ryan's got to keep his engine from blowing up so he stays in the race. But yeah, completely different race than what we've seen before. We're going to see some banging and crashing on the half mile of Martinsville. Yeah.
The Martinsville.
Thank you, Crofty.
Croft Electric, 27 years of trusted, reliable home, farm, and commercial service for all your electrical needs. Follow them on all the socials and croftelectric.com. We are going to go to break, and then we are going to be joined by General Manager of the Prince Albert Raiders, Curtis Hunt, over the telephone. It is the Sports Cage on the home of sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Welcome back. Heavy metal music means Sharky's with me, Colson, and Curtis. I love it. We talked about the Western Hockey League playoffs and the Western Hockey League report for extreme hockey and sport earlier. Let's keep that talk going. It starts tomorrow. We're going out on the Western Pizza guest hotline, a guy who likes his Western Pizza. Curtis Hunt, General Manager of the Prince Albert Raiders. Huntsy, how's it going up there in the north today?
It's going to be a nice stormy Friday, as Mother Nature has delivered one of her classic March specials. But it's good. I could use a Western pizza right now, actually, now that you say that.
I know it's hard. We do this every week, Huntsy, and he talks about Western pizza the whole time. I'm just starving by the time I get home.
Is it getting pretty greasy up there? Because it was saying that kind of Saskatoon and north was going to get it.
Yeah, I bet you I can see the new arena from my office, but she's pretty white out there, so yeah, it's a little greasy. You just hope that Edmonton's traveling today, that they get here safe, and certainly they'll have the parking lot cleared for game time.
We talked to James Gallo, voice of the Moose Jaw Warriors, earlier, and he just said, you know what, if you've never been to a playoff game at the Art Hauser Center in Prince Albert, I think the last time I was at a playoff game, it was just the Communiplex up there. It is such an awesome atmosphere. You guys got home ice here. You did what you needed to do last weekend against Saskatoon. Is it really crucial to have that against this Edmonton team, Huntsy?
I think it doesn't matter who your opponent is, and I don't mean that to disparage the Oil Kings. They're a good club. If you look at the standings, we're all within 6 to 8 points. But to be able to start at home. Last year we started on the road. We were able to sneak a game out of Saskatoon, a very good hockey team. Hopefully guys can use that experience. But to start at home last weekend, when all the chips were down in our fight for first place, we had 3,300 in the building, as close to capacity as we've been all year. Standing room only, a couple deep, and going back to what James said, the atmosphere was fantastic in the building, and we want to keep that energy. We want to grab that energy, get our fans into it, and allow them to support us as best they can. And that's what makes the Hauser such a great place to play, is the intimacy of the fans and the echo and the building and the wooden beams and all of it. So we're excited about it.
It was the first place, Huntsy. I don't know if they're still doing it. It was the first place that I saw people bring milk crates in so they could stand. You talk about 2 deep. Are they still doing that up there?
Well, we did it in 2019. We'll see how it goes here. I know that I had a meeting up in the front business office, and we were standing room only. So I'm thinking we're going to be pretty close. So
Love it.
Certainly won't turn anyone away. Put it that way.
Cliff Mapes is running to the Save On Foods. Hey, how many of those can we borrow for the weekend?
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
He's down at the lumberyard getting 2x10s, hammering them together to make benches. Hey, Hensy,
we've seen that here too. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Hey, Hensy, your top line there. You've got to be really excited about the way they've played and the presence they've had offensively for your club. How special are they going to be against this Oil Kings team?
Well, they've been fantastic, led by Aidan Oring in the middle, and then Thomas Merzick, the St. Louis draft pick, and then Braden Doobie has had arguably maybe the most improved player in our league, and his speed is just phenomenal. But those guys are dangerous every time they're on the ice. What I really like is our back end is able to get pucks up ice to those guys, and we can play with pace and speed. And we know Edmonton's they got big D, they got big mobile D, and we're gonna have to use quickness and speed and maybe a little veteran savvy to have success, because we've had tremendous games with them all year.
That was probably a local pizzeria calling them there in the back. I'm like, hey, what is this Western pizza stuff? We got pizza up here.
House. Yeah.
Max Hildebrand, man. Like what he did last year against the Blades with his dad watching. I'm sure Hilty will be watching his boy. The guy's been what you and a lot of teams hope from a veteran goalie.
And what a great story, and I know it's been echoed out there. He was the last player or the second last player selected in the draft. Just a tremendous work ethic. He joined us in the hub down in Regina in the lockout year, and has just worked himself slowly into our starter. And this year has been, he gives you a chance every night. Put it that way. And even when we're a little sloppy or a little short, or guys are missing responsibilities, he's been there to back us up, and I know he's excited. I was so happy for him, one, to lead us to the division title, two, to beat his dad's team. I think that's always special for all of us. Starting when we're all 16 to play against Pop, and then now to finish his career with a bang. And we think we have a team and some depth. You talked about our top line. We're healthy now going into the postseason. Throughout our lineup, and it all starts in goaltending and works its way out.
Huntsy, talk about Edmonton. You mentioned their defense earlier, and they do have a big defense. There's no doubt about it. But what else from the Oil Kings do you have to focus on to make sure that you come out on top?
Well, I think like special teams is so important in the postseason. So just our own discipline. They do have a very good penalty kill, and what's the thing about their penalty kill is they're dynamic. I think they scored 15 shorthanded goals this year. So, as good as our power play has been, you got to make sure you're paying attention to detail, because they're a quick strike team that way as well. But it's a team we've matched up against. We're 3-2 in the season. Since Christmas, they have the edge, 2-1. Grayson Sachin, leads their team. He's a dynamic, nifty, shifty player. Can beat guys one-on-one. He can beat you with vision. As I mentioned, shorthanded goals. And then their captain, Gavin Hodnett, another crafty, shifty player. So we're going to have to be our best against them. They're deep. They play a very well-structured game, and they're hungry. They were out of the playoffs last year. And they're going to come in here and they're going to leave it all on the table. So we're going to have to be our best.
What can you say? And I know it's tough, and you're probably not going to go too much into it. But Jeff Truitt leaving the team late, Ryan McDonald taking over as the interim head coach here really late in the season. We've seen it a few times. Different leagues, different that right before playoffs. What's Ryan McDonald bringing to this team as the interim head coach?
I guess the first thing I'll say is Jeff Truitt's a quality person and a great coach, and I think that situation was not an easy. It wasn't an easy decision, and it was something that wasn't made overnight. There's a lot of factors that go into that. I think Ryan's a great young coach. For those who are following hockey, which is your listeners, saw the job he did with Team Saskatchewan last year. losing in double overtime to Ontario when you think about the population of our two provinces, and the job he did with that group in a short tournament, part of Canada under 17. When I watched him, and going back to probably 2017 when he was a guest coach with us, I think he was still coaching Bantam. Joined us in the bubble as well in the hub, and a learner, a climber, a guy looking to get better every day. I thought, we had a little bit of a window when Jeff had missed some time with some health issues, and what I saw from Ryan was great leadership. I saw him, diversify his coaching. I saw his communication. I saw his passion, his grit. And I saw our team really respond. And, even our finish here, our last 6 games, we lost a tough one in Lethbridge. And then it wasn't an easy task into Red Deer, into Edmonton, home to Moose Jaw, and then home with Saskatoon. And we ran the table to get us in the 5. I couldn't be happier for Ryan and the finish he had. And I think he's going to be I think he's got a great future in this game as a coach. And, we're excited to have him here and excited to watch how he grows and develops through this postseason as well.
General Manager of the Prince Albert Raiders, Curtis Hunt, joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Last one before I let you go. I wanted to ask you this a couple months ago, and then we couldn't catch up. But you go back, like 1996, 97. You're with Grand Rapids, and you're starting your coaching, and you've seen a lot, especially in the junior side of things. Now with this NCAA, and like a guy like Max Hildebrand going to Bemidji, it's here now, Huntsy, right? Like it's been a long time coming for a lot of people. But as a general manager of a team, what's the excitement for you? Because we're hearing it, right? Like these American kids now that were going to be pot committed to the USHL. Now it's like, hey, I'm going to the Western League. It's going to be the best league. As a general manager, how do you speak of it in a guy that's seen a lot of hockey?
Well, I see a great example for players. Our model has always been, we're going to develop you. We want to develop players for the National League. We've always felt that. Our game emulates theirs. Our rules emulate theirs. And the style emulates that pro game. And then the worst case scenario is I'm going to give you a scholarship to the Canadian university of your choice, which is a pretty good consolation prize.
Yeah.
Especially kids who get to continue to play. Where I always think that the Canadian kids that didn't go to U.S. college were in tough is they never seem to get the opportunities after junior hockey that some of the U.S. college kids did, because they would bring in kids 22, 23 years old, and they'd get opportunities in the American League, they'd get opportunities at the National League, or even the Coast, where a lot of the Canadian university kids didn't get that. So I think if I'm a Canadian university, they're going to probably have to change their model a little bit to recruit some of these players. But if you're a player now and you don't get drafted and you're maybe a little later developing, and you get that opportunity at 20 years old to go down to the U.S., I think there's a little more exposure for those players and then a second opportunity to shine for the pro guys and even the European guys. And I think that's the advantage for the player as well. I think there's a lot of things we don't know right now. We've seen some commitments, but we haven't seen a lot from, those big high-end schools, millions of dollars. That, it certainly creates a little anxiety when you hear these rumors about, like a guy like McKenna, and they're just rumors. Like there's. Just so I want to qualify that right off the bat.
Oh, for sure.
I hear them too, but it's just like we want to see where this kind of plays out. Maybe after a year, after 2 years, what does USA Hockey do? They've got their anxieties through this thing as well. So I do see the player pool for us getting bigger. I think there's been some reluctancy for American kids to come up right now. So that's exciting for us, and I think we want to continue to be the development team for the national, or the development league for the National Hockey League. That's been our model. I think we're recognized that across the CHL. And we got a chance to make a better product for our fans, and again, a better option for the player at the end of the day. Yeah. So, it's a mixed feeling and a mixed boat, but I think in the end, this is probably good for hockey, and it should create a real nice development model from midget through junior A, major junior, and off to wherever from there.
All right, Huntsy. Solid stuff. What were you going to say?
No, I like what he's saying.
Yeah.
I don't think it's washed out yet. I think there's more going to happen before it washes out and we see where everybody ends up. There's not more teams. There's not more players. It just changes where you get to go, right? It just makes it a wide open network.
Yeah. So the next time you're in town, I know you're going to go on a run here and you're going to be busy, but shoot me a text. We'll walk over to Western Pizza in the north there. I'll buy you a nice cold 016 and a pizza pie.
Well, those are two of my favorite things. They're good friends at Great Western, that's for sure. Prince Albert as well. But great, I appreciate you guys having me on anytime. All right.
Thanks,
right on, Huntsy. Have a good one. Good luck.
All right, take care, guys.
Cheers.
General Manager of the Prince Albert Raiders, Curtis Hunt, joining us. Got a resume, eh?
Oh, you forget that he was with the Ottawa Senators for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Moose Jaw. He's been in PA a long time.
Won World Juniors twice. Yeah, there's a lot to Curtis Hunt that people maybe forget. Won the Memorial Cup.
Yeah.
With PA.
He's he knows his, like Al Miller, right?
Yep.
These guys know their stuff.
They're not new to the game.
Yeah. What are you doing? Just be quiet. These guys know more. These guys forgot about more hockey than you and I.
Go back to the grill. Yeah, just worry about the pizza. Don't worry about anything else.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
We got
a lot of respect for Curtis.
2 hours in the till here.
Wow.
Sports Cage.
You're welcome, Curtis.
On a game day for the Regina Pat Canadians. Sold out C6 tonight. Moose Jaw can't get a ticket.
Scalper's looking for at least $50 for a ticket.
Allegedly. It's going to be nuts. We just hope the crew at Real is ready for the... Wouldn't that be something if the concession was closed? Or they only had one person pouring pitchers?
There'll only be one person pouring pitchers. There'll be one person cooking hot dogs.
You better... Hopefully the Great Western guys let them borrow one of those mobile stands. That would have been an idea. From the Brandt Center, get the mobile stands.
Whoa. Let's not get too carried away with being prepared.
Why would we want to make money?
Yeah. We can get all the money we need from the taxpayers. Yeah. We don't have to make any.
Just bring in your own cans then. Tell them the Sports Cage said it was allowed tonight.
Yeah, had them in your pockets.
We'll be back with Glen Suitor in Hour 3. It's The Cage on 620 CKRM. Hour 3 on a big game day in Regina at the C6. Sold out for the Regina Pat Canadians and Moose Jaw Winmar Warriors. 7:30 puck drop. No tickets available at the door if you're planning on getting in that way because it is sold out.
Crack security there. You will not be able to break the security team.
If you've ever seen real security,
it's real.
It is exactly like the Navy SEALs. Keeping things tight. On the up and up. You know what would be really cool? If tailgating was allowed.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be fun?
It's kind of a cool day out, though.
It's no different than if you're going to a cool football game in Green Bay or Minnesota.
Put on your coat. Get out the smoke.
Buffalo.
Yeah. Get out the queue. Draft tap.
Yeah, so big game there tonight. We've been covering it the whole show. If you missed any of the show, you can go back and listen to it in podcast form. The clutch performer, Mr. Jordan Hibbert, teacher at St. Michael's School. Somebody texted in and said, was that ever a cool story?
That was a cool story.
Yeah, it was good. Arash Madani. We had Curtis Hunt from the Prince Albert Raiders. James Gallo, voice of the Moose Jaw Warriors, which will play again in a bit here. We ran down the SJHL, which we'll do again in a bit. It is Thursday for Access Communications, and Thursday means it's time to talk to our guy on the left coast.
Time now for press coverage with CFL and Saskatchewan Rough Rider legend Glen Suitor on the Sports Cage. Brought to you by Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They'll treat you right. 781-2090.
Suits. You know what? What do you want to? You want to start with something?
Seem hot.
Okay, we got something.
Yeah, I got something. Because I heard you guys do a NASCAR report, and
Yes.
It got me thinking. Because NASCAR, correct me if I'm wrong, are all the same specs, right? So the car, every engine in those cars have to have the exact same specs.
Lots of the engines are actually coming from one team, and they lease them to other drivers and other teams.
So really, winning and losing comes down to the skill of the driver, because
Without a
there's
doubt.
no edge to be gained by the engine. Okay, Barney, you're gonna. This question I think is kind of leaning your way here.
Oh, jeez.
What do you think about a pro golf tournament where every golfer uses the same clubs?
That's funny you say that, because when you guys started this, I was like, what sport? Golf. What if everyone had to use the same clubs?
How much do you think that would affect winning and losing? How much of an edge does a great driver over an okay driver have? Like, I know it's all so high tech now that all the manufacturers are probably great, but I don't know.
The technology's so good, so similar. The only thing, and I don't know if when you guys golf, and if you've got to like test a driver, if you want to, it's like if it doesn't fit your eyeball, or let's say if you got a blade, if you're hitting blades or somewhat blades and you're going to a cavity back iron, that might be the thing, the look. I think those guys are so good. They can shape the ball. They can hit the ball so effortlessly that if they all use the same clubs, it would be awesome, because then it just comes down to
pure
the mental game.
Yeah, but the skill.
And pure skill.
Yeah.
And make them putt with one of those putters from like a putt and bounce, like the old putters.
What do you think of the ones that you stand up in, like the pendulum ones? What about those putters?
Yeah, we golf with a guy in our group that has one of those.
Really?
I don't know how he calls it the Big Easy. I don't know how you do it. It looks awkward.
It does. It does look awkward.
Like right away, you look like a bit of a goober.
Yeah. I no, those should be banned.
Yeah, I'm wondering. It's surprising to me that like a Nike hasn't said we're going to invite the top 12 golfers in the world, and they're all going to use the same clubs. We'll fit them for size, but they're all going to be the same, and best man wins.
So same stiffness shaft, same everything.
Exactly. And it's a middle of the road deal. So someone who likes a stiffer shaft has to make the adjustment on the fly. You can go to the range before you tee off.
Yeah.
You can't practice for a month with them. You go to the range before you tee off. You get a feel for it, and you hit the first tee box.
Or better yet, don't let them go to the range.
There you go.
Here's your clubs.
Trunk slam to the first tee. Let's go.
I think we're onto something. If Nike's listening, I think we're onto something.
Well, Nike's kind of out of golf clubs now, but I like it.
True.
And then they all got to use the same ball.
Yep.
Everyone should use the same ball. Yeah.
It's got legs. It's got legs. Yeah.
It's a fantasy world.
Suits is the golf commissioner of the new golf tournament.
Yeah. You're on to something, Suits. Hey,
who's the new commissioner?
Yeah. Hey, guys, I talked to a top executive at TSN yesterday, and that was my first question. And they don't know. So here's what's happening now. We're in big time meetings. Not me personally. I'm not on that floor of the office building with Bell, but they're in big time meetings right now, getting prepared for the season. And head of football ops Greg Dick is still in the office, so he is probably leading and chairing those meetings. But they're not. I said, okay, come on, just you and I talking here. No one's gonna know until I get on CQRM the next day.
Yeah.
But for now, for the next 24 hours, no one would know. And who's the next guy? And they said, we haven't heard the name yet. And that to me, in some ways, because I've been involved with the CFL for so long, in some ways I think this might be a good thing, only because if the new ownership group has made a decision and can keep it a secret like they have for so long, this might be a good sign that they are ready to control the messaging coming out of the league office moving forward. I don't know. I'm trying to find silver lining in the fact that we're getting 50 days before we start training camps here.
It's like
drafts coming up. Yeah.
It's like asking the smart aleck kids these days. When you ask them something and they go, Nunya. You're like, who? Nunya business. Is there now, as we go into April here, is there an opportune time to announce it? Like, are we going to just wait till right before camps open up, or do we, and what's the transition like? It just seems sketchy to me. I can't find a better word to use.
Yeah, like I said, I have great respect for the Amar Domans and the new owners in the league. So I'm going to stay optimistic, but I know from a sort of an execution point of view, the commissioner announces the draft picks on our TSN show. So every year, the commissioner has got to. We do the first 2 rounds, and the commissioner makes those announcements. So that's in May. So now we're talking, go back. We're looking at the next week to 2 weeks is the ideal time.
What, just wake up on social media tomorrow and be like, Glen Suitor to announce draft picks.
Yeah. Slight change to the CFL draft.
Now that gets people talking again.
I did find out, I don't have the full schedule, but I did find out, and I'm very excited to know that I will be calling the opener for Saskatchewan, Ottawa in town. And
nice.
Looking forward to that. We're getting our schedules together, and I can keep you, as I know more, I will make sure everyone knows what we have in store for TSN coverage this year.
Selfishly, I love that because you can bring my gift from St. Andrews right at the beginning of the year.
You got it, buddy. I don't want to raise expectations too high now, but I do have.
If it's a coaster from the bar, I'll be happy. Trust me.
Here's your tea.
My greatest favorite place on the face of the earth, I think. There's a lot of hype around Trey Lance added to the Rough Riders negotiation list. And it's like, all right, you know what? It is a slow time. It's giving people stuff to write about, giving us something to talk about, I guess, a bit. How much do you know about the negotiation list and what it is, Glenn?
Well, basically, every team can have, I think it's 45 players on their neg list, and that 45 players is always interchangeable. So you can trade the neg list, you can trade a player on it, you can bring a player on, but then you can't go over that number, so you have to take a player off if you're going to do that. You can put them on, I think, basically at any time, including like even early. High school. I don't know that there's a specific rule that says you can or can't take a high school kid. I know there's lots of college kids, even first year college players, freshmen that are put on neg lists at times. And, certainly guys that have been in or have been drafted or have been in the NFL that are maybe, free agents. They're not getting a lot of looks from other teams in the NFL. So teams in Canada will jump on putting them on neg lists, and I think that's where Lance comes in. It's I'm not a huge fan because I think the neg list early on had a purpose for teams. Early on, the neg list was the team goes down to, say, Texas, and it does a free agent camp on its own expense, and it sees 100 players. And there's 3 or 4 or 5 of them that they look at and they say, all those 4 guys are guys that we really think could make a difference on our team. Let's put them on the neg list. And they did the work to do that. So therefore, they wanted a way to allow teams to protect those players. Like, you went down and looked at them. You went down and ran your camp, and you found them. Even if they're NFL guys, you went and saw them personally at your own expense. So now you can put them on and protect them on this neg list. And then they made it private. And I don't know exactly why they have to do that. We're talking about it now because of one player's name. If you knew all the players, that creates a lot of discussion as to whether or not, you know, player might come up here that is not getting a look in the NFL and, you know, wants to keep playing. So, you know, I do think though now that, you know, in the day and age of instant communication and players talking to players and things, I think this is really sort of leans too much to the team and not enough for the player. Like, let's say there's a real good player down south that is discovered by Toronto, and he's a receiver. But Toronto doesn't specifically need a receiver for a year or two. They keep him on the neg list, which means he can really only talk to Toronto if he's going to go to the CFL. And that keeps him out of the league because he's being protected by a team that doesn't necessarily need a receiver at that time. I would rather see these guys be on a big, huge list that we can all talk about.
Yeah.
That any CFL team could pick up at any time. If you need a receiver and there's a couple on that big, huge list there, go and get one. Go get the best one.
So, Glenn, to make it a comparative thing, it's a bit like a protected list of drafted players, even though we haven't gone through the draft process. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think the teams would try to shape it that way. You know, I think they would say, we've done the work to find them. Why can Toronto just sign them? You know, if they need a guy. And so I think that's what they're saying. It's we don't have a draft for American players. So how can we sort of plan our team and our depth on our team for the future, you know, even the near future, without protecting them? But again, I don't see, this is one surprise for me. Why is the Players Association doesn't push back on this more is interesting to me, because what is it in it for the American player? The American player, some of them don't even know they're on a list.
Yeah.
In fact, most of them don't. So
they don't.
So
who's what?
Yeah. So that doesn't really help them. Like it you know, if you're down there and you're trying to get on an NFL roster, and it might feel good to you to know that if it doesn't work out, you got a chance to play in BC or Saskatchewan or wherever. And you start to Google that and look at that. That's kind of the only benefit I can see for the player. The team can hold that player on a neg list, and if they don't necessarily need that position, then that player just sits there and trains. He doesn't have a chance to go play somewhere else that may need a receiver. So, you know, I think it's a little one-sided. I'd like to see the players have a little more rights here. And from a PR point of view, we need to know who the whole neg list is. Not
exactly.
Just let's talk about it. You know, why you want to keep it a secret, I don't know.
I think it should be wide open that everybody can see it. And you can start to follow some guys that maybe you think are going to come up. You want to see where he's at or where he goes in the NFL draft, or if he goes in the NFL draft. It gives you the ability to follow your team even deeper than you're presently doing.
And you'd have crazy fans tweeting at these people and being like, come play here.
It goes back to the communication issue we talked about on Tuesday, right? This is part of the bigger communication scenario of promoting the CFL.
Well, let's play devil's advocate for just a second and put our GM hat on.
Okay.
Why is a GM, if I'm a GM, why do I want this private?
There's no reason.
Yeah, there's got to be some reasons.
And I keep searching for him. Maybe Jeremy O'Day could answer this question immediately, and it's something I haven't thought of or missed. But honestly, I don't see a benefit if they're locked in anyway, and they don't even know. Then why is it a secret?
Yeah,
you know, like it doesn't make any sense to me. And we could be doing exactly what you said, Shark. We could be talking about these guys. We could be following them down in the States. We could be watching their college games saying, hey, we might get that guy. That'd be pretty cool to do across the board.
Okay, when we regroup next week, it was on social media today, and I didn't do enough research on it, but we got to talk about the salary cap increase. Doesn't sound like it's set in stone yet. The Players Association is still working through that, so let's do some digging in the next few days and then circle back on that. Suits. What do you got planned for the weekend now that you're back home? Probably spending a lot of time with the missus.
Well, I'll say this quietly because I really miss my dog a lot. So I'll be don't get me wrong, I miss my wife as well. But is it wrong to really, really miss your dog? And so I'm going to be spending the weekend, playing fetch.
I got your back all day long on that, Suits. Got your back all day long. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
You guys.
Yeah.
Okay, have a good weekend out there, Glenn.
Trying to get a good dog. Getting a good dog's hard, Suits. It's hard.
Lots of belly rubs. Press coverage with Glen Suitor. It's for Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They will treat you right. 781-2090. We'll go to a quick break. We come back.
I'm looking at the rider neg list and who's on there.
We're a local show. We're going to cover everything you need to know local, starting with the big game tonight in Regina, sold out. It's a Sports Cage on the home of sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. If you haven't gone to sportscage.com today, we got a full rundown from Benny Walchuk on 3 overtime games in the SJHL last night. Terriers over Melville leading the series 3-1 now. Bombers, they went into Humboldt and lost 2 Broncos in overtime last night, so that series is 2-2 going back to the Whitney Forum. The surprise of the night, maybe the Kindersley Clippers in overtime, 3-2 on top of Melfort. Melfort gets another gate. The beer sales will be flowing as they get one more game in the Northern Lights in round 1. And then the Weyburn Red Wings in overtime, 3-2 over the Battleford's North Stars. Red Wings have the series lead going back home there. So that's your SJHL report for Southie Mainline Chrysler. New king of trucks in Southie, Saskatchewan, worth the drive every time right now in their 2024s. They got $2,000 off to $16,000 off. $260,000 in total savings across the lot. Southie Mainline Chrysler. Tonight, 7:30. C6. There probably people are starting to, what time is it? 5:30 for sure. People are starting to go and claim their seat.
I'll bet they are. Yeah.
Putting their hoodie on top, maybe a purse, a blanket. Maybe not a purse.
Not a purse.
Maybe not a purse. Heads up on the purse.
Yeah.
A blanket, a hoodie, a jacket. Claim your seat because it's rush seating. It is sold out. There were no tickets available at the door. So if you're listening to the program, you will know. But there will be a lot of mouth breathers that show up being like, what do you mean it's sold out?
Yeah, I want to get a ticket.
Have you been listening to all the Harvard stations? Had we had it on all our socials too.
Yeah.
So no tickets available for Game 3 tonight. Regina Pat Canadians and Moose Jaw. Regina Pat Canadians can wrap it up. Moose Jaws, we talked about at the beginning of the show.
They've come back from 2-0 before.
Oh, against Swift. We talked to Trevor Weisgerber. He talked about what a wild ride that was and all that. But they've led both games in the first period. It's been Brennan Brown scoring both times to take a 1-0 lead. And then the Pat C's, what do the Pat C's have? Like 3 power play goals in this series?
Yeah, 3 of their 4 goals have been on the PP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't take penalties. Moose Jaw, don't take penalties, or you won't see Game 4.
And there's a lot of people that are going to be going tonight for the first time to watch us. And let's be honest, a lot are going to see Maddox Schultz, 14-year-old phenom. But a lot of people are just going because they're like, it's hype, it's awesome. And then they are going to be blown away by the speed and how good this hockey is.
It's it's way better than what you think it's going to be. It's like I say, it's going to be packed. So get there, get early, get your butt in a seat. And we talked earlier, if you can sit in the middle of the row because it's rush seating and let somebody that maybe has a challenge get into the middle, that'd be great to help some people out.
Doors open at 6:30.
Doors open so an hour before game time. What an exciting opportunity for the Pac Canadians to be able to finish out at home, prepare themselves to. Now, is there still a regional, or they go right to nationals?
And they go. I want to say someone said it was Kenora.
Kenora, Ontario.
Isn't that always how it works?
Is there still a regional?
There was a bracket thing that I looked up, and I think they're automatically in like the regional final because they finished first, and then they play whoever the winner of the like final tournament is. So technically, if they win, then Moose Jaw automatically gets second, and they play each other again. I think
we'll do some digging on that.
Yeah, we got to do some math on that. Yeah.
The one thing that we talked about was 1,472 is capacity
packed
at the Sixer, and it'll be all of that tonight.
Yep. Plus around the bottom, plus. They're probably preparing for 15.
No, 1472.
That's it? That's what the fire marshal said, 1472?
Max.
Okay.
Max bodies.
That's all Real's got working, security and beer and hot dogs.
But the portable beer things from the Brandt Center that are just sitting there now collecting dust until the Beach Boys, I guess, tomorrow. Wheel one of those bad boys over. The GW guys will gladly bring a keg or two.
Sure.
And you can pour there. Then you can pour in the concession or whatever area. And then please have lots of staff.
Please.
Tonight. 1472.
You know what? I look forward to your review because you're going to the game, right?
I'm going to Cerrado as soon as I can.
Okay, so you're going to the game. I look forward to your review on staff and the scenario at Real, knowing this is probably, next to a Rider game, one of the biggest events they're going to have on the grounds this year.
The Beach Boys tomorrow. I wonder how many. There'll be lots of people in the old Brandt Center tomorrow for the. I think they're playing the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not one of them.
No,
I'm not a big Beach Boys fan.
Little Deuce Coupe or whatever it was called.
I don't think that's theirs.
Yeah, wasn't it?
I don't think Little Deuce Coupe is theirs.
Is that Jan and Dean?
You're off. Yeah. I'm no music aficionado, but I don't think the Beach Boys are Little Deuce. You're looking it up, aren't you?
Absolutely, I am. Song by the Beach Boys, 1963.
Look at that. You weren't even born yet. You weren't even a twinkle in your father's eye.
It's off their fourth album. Yes.
You win again.
Yeah. No, so it's that's a big one tonight. Western Hockey League, we talked to Curtis Hunt. James Gallo's coming back up again in a bit here. Dubs, everything starts tomorrow. Hopefully the storm doesn't throw any monkey wrenches in plans.
It could.
Like Curtis Hunt said that Edmonton's traveling right now to PA. Get through it, and then you would think that Saskatoon's already in Calgary. I don't know if they went yesterday or today. Probably
through saw the storm coming and said, "Let's get out of here.
Let's roll. Let's everybody pack up the lung. We're heading to."
And other than a little wind down here in Regina, everything looks good.
Yeah, wasn't the highway bad? Like right out Balgonie to Melville.
Yeah.
That Highway 10.
It's close.
Somebody messaged in the Prairie Land Rentals text line earlier. 936-6262 since 1986, 600 Albert Street. Prairie Land Rentals and Sales. You get to deal with the owner. They said that because we talked about,
and I quote,
we talked about Highway 10 earlier, and just how busy it is.
Because there was a semi that had jackknife going down the hill.
Said he travels the province all the time, and Highway 10 is right here. Trevor. I'm on the road throughout the province pretty much daily. Highway 10 is the worst, in my opinion.
For the amount of traffic.
Oh, yeah,
it's a busy highway. It's a busy stretch of road. They've got some passing lanes. It's better now that they've got the passing lanes, but they could still add some more to that stretch of highway.
Gary in Winnipeg being funny.
Love Gary.
Trump is going to put a tariff on American players in the CFL. Time to get more Australians in the CFL. Nah, you're funny.
Trump doesn't know what a tariff is. He just keeps using the word.
Yeah. Elbows up.
I found the bracket for the TELUS Cup if you guys want to see that.
Well, can you put it up?
Yeah, Curtis.
Nice.
Or do we got to walk over there and see it on your screen?
No. No. So everything's
pretty
divided into regions. It's very small, so I'll explain it. But there's 6 teams get into the TELUS Cup. The host team, which this year's Fraser Valley. Then there's a Central region, Pacific, West, Atlantic, and Quebec region.
So we're in the West.
We're in the West region, which is the Sask AAA, Manitoba AAA, and the Northwest Ontario, which has 2 teams in it. And one of those 2 teams is hosting, and the other team won, so they both get in. And I don't fully understand how you can pull that off, but hey, it's AAA hockey, whatever.
I'll explain that to you later.
And then, so it's right now it says the Regina Pack Canadians are in to like
so I think how this reads here, 936 62 60. So there will be Thunder Bay, and then it'll be
the winner out of Manitoba and the winner out of Sask go into this 4-pack, who then do little playoff thing.
And it's in Kenora. There you go. There's your regionals.
Okay, so
Kenora.
there's a round robin in Kenora.
And then the winner of the West goes to the Coupe de TELUS.
So
in Chilliwack?
Fraser Valley.
Chilliwack. So still one more playoff to get through before you get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Then it's always sometimes we get to host it I think every 4 years if we want it, but it's Thunder Bay, Kenora, Brandon, Winnipeg, or
Saski somewhere.
Tisdale's hosted it.
I think Warman had the last one.
Did they?
Yeah.
I can't remember if Regina must have at some point along the way.
They haven't had it for years.
Like 85 when I was looking it up.
Ooh, old school.
I think Tyler Bozak played in it.
Tyler Bozak, it would not be 1985.
That's the last time I remember they had it, because Bozak was playing in it. I do remember that.
So that would have been early 2000s?
Ooh, I was right. No. 85 was the last time Regina hosted it.
Really?
Pack Canadians got silver that year.
You've killed a lot of brain cells since then, Sharky.
The last time...
No, we've hosted it since then.
That was the last time Regina hosted it, the TELUS Cup.
The actual championship.
Not the play-in.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The regional play-in.
Regional play-in. That I don't know. The last time a Sask town hosted the TELUS Cup was 99 Prince Albert.
Yeah.
And the Pack Canadians won that one.
Yes.
Pretty cool stuff. So if you're going there, give your seat up to somebody that can't stand. It's going to be packed. Be patient. We'll recap everything tomorrow. We're going to end the show. We're going to go back to our interview with James Gallo. We get a little prediction on the Western Hockey League, what happened in Moose Jaw this year. Thanks to everyone who participated on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Back to anything. Any closing thoughts for you?
Long year for the Blue Jays, and go Patsies.
Blue Jays are last in the AL East after today. James Gallo's coming up after the break. It's the Sports Cage on the home of sports in Saskatchewan. Streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM.